This is certainly a feature match I've ever seen. When Shaheen Soorani, a man that has 4 invitational top 8s but hasn't been able to get the win against a man who does have an invitational win this year. Erik Smith won in Somerset, New Jersey, and he is playing Punishing Jund. He started 6-0. You've got Esper Mage himself, Shaheen. Of course, he's playing Esper Stoneblade. What else could he play? But this is a pretty tough matchup for him. Jund actually lines up pretty well against Esper Stoneblade.
Yeah, well, Shaheen does have Lingering Souls. Lingering Souls is one of those cards that's, pretty good against Jund. But yeah, I agree with you. It's hard to kind of combat all the cards that you're dealing with, like Punishing Fire. Abrupt Decay is very good against Stoneforge Mystic, obviously. And then Liliana the Veil. That's a really problematic card, particularly when Jund can cast it on turn 2 with Deathrite Shaman.
GTA is going to come down on Tarmogoyf. It's going to get equipped. Shaheen's going to play a Plains, but can he deal with the large creature and equipment right now?
He does have an Intuition, it looks like, in his hand, so not sure what 3 cards he can get. He does have Engineered Explosive as an answer, Vindicate, and then his own Jete, but again, the new Legend rule kind of doesn't make that a removal spell anymore.
It could be maybe a triple sword is what he's going for, and that's exactly
so
what
he's going to go for 3 swords here. He doesn't have 3 ways to kill his Jete.
Shaheen with the mismatching artwork on the swords. Come on, clean it up here, Soorani. You've been playing Esper forever. This is unacceptable for me. He was got the beta lands and then mismatching swords. Shaheen.
So Shaheen does have a Lingering Souls in his graveyard. Unfortunately, not very effective against Tarmogoyf, let alone Tarmogoyf equipped with the Jete. Yeah. So Shaheen's kind of on the back pedal right here. Top deck Jace would be pretty good.
Yeah, not so bad. What is it? There's a Marsh Flats.
It's a Supreme Verdict,
okay.
So that's a start. I'm not sure. It looks like Erik might have 2 cards left in his hand.
Yeah.
So Supreme Verdict starts out getting the job.
He can flashback Lingering Souls right now, too, if he wants to. It looks like he opted not to, however.
Yeah, it looks like he passed the turn.
I think maybe Erik
a little
bit prematurely. Okay.
Looks like they were playing a little quickly there. So he did flashback Lingering Souls. Erik does have, it looks like, an Abrupt Decay, Pyroblast maybe. I'm not sure he has another creature.
That's what I was going to say. I think the thing that he doesn't have is another creature, which is the problem here for the Invitational winner. Soorani going to draw a card.
Yeah, so Shaheen has a number of good draws here, but Thoughtseize here, so that's going to deal with the Pyroblast likely. Let's see. Okay. I think he might take out the Pyroblast just because he wants to be able to top deck a Jace. So yeah, with 2 Abrupt Decays, I imagine. Oh, no.
Wow, I'm a little bit surprised by that one.
So he is taking the Abrupt Decay. Maybe he just doesn't care about Pyroblast.
How many Jaces does he have in his deck?
He has 3 Jace the Mind Sculptors in his deck, so. Oh, Dark Confidant. So good top deck creature there for Erik. And wow.
Well, he has Abrupt, but he can't cast Abrupt Decay.
Yeah.
Whoa.
No, but he has the Jete, so still has 1 counter on the Jete, so he could kill the Lingering Souls token.
Okay.
So the Jete won't get active yet, but he can re-equip. But he still has the Abrupt Decay in his hand. So yep, looks like Dark Confidant will be able to get through here.
There's a Wooded Foothills and draws a Tarmogoyf.
There's a Tarmogoyf. So yeah, Erik looks like he's back in the driver's seat here. We can just Abrupt Decay the token and attack in here.
In comes Bobby.
Get 2 counters. Now he can commit. Let's see if he wants to commit another Goyf to the board, or is he afraid of a second Supreme Verdict? Nope. Does not care.
And that is going to do it. So Erik Smith is going to tie this matchup up between him and Shaheen Soorani. Punishing Jund and Esper Stoneblade are going to go to a 3rd and final one here between the 2 players. So interesting stuff. Let's take a look at the sideboards here, my friend. You've got Shaheen in front of you. He knows he's playing against Punishing Jund at this point. What can he do to turn things around?
Like you said, this matchup's very difficult, and there's not many cards that Shaheen has in his sideboard. I mean, his sideboard is geared towards beating combo, because generally Esper Stoneblade has a tough time against combo decks. So you could see that Shaheen kind of took note of that with his sideboard. He's got 2 copies of Cabal Therapy, 3 Surgical Extractions, 2 Spell Pierce, 1 Force of Will, 1 Blue Elemental Blast, 2 Engineered Plague, an extra Supreme Verdict he can bring in, 2 Notion Thief. There's not much he has against Jund, really. Obviously, Supreme Verdict can come in. We saw that there. Cabal Therapy he might want to bring in Cabal Therapy just as a way to go after cards like Tarmogoyf and all of the reactive spells that Erik might have after board. Also works well with Lingering Souls, obviously. Surgical Extraction coming in as a way to deal with Punishing Fire. But beyond that, there's the problem with Shaheen's strategy is that the cards he has against Jund are very reactive. He doesn't have that really proactive, powerful punch card that you can bring in that can lock up games for you for specific matchups. It's a lot of just defensive cards and cards that you need in order to combat the really hateful cards that are coming in from Erik's deck.
Yeah. And speaking of hateful cards, he's got a few. We saw Pyroblast in the last game. He's got 3 copies of those. 2 copies of Surgical Extraction, a Pithing Needle, a Scavenging Ooze, 2 copies of Duress, 2 Ancient Grudge, a Grafdigger's Cage, and Umezawa's Jite, which we did see in the last game, and 2 copies of Golgari Charms. So he's got a lot of options here. Does he bring in Golgari Charm against a deck that has Lingering Souls? Maybe yes, maybe no. Jite obviously quite good, and we saw it win him that last game. Could bring in some number of Ancient Grudges because he knows that Shaheen has Jite of his own. And then, of course, 3 copies of Pyroblast to counter Jace's another blue cards that he deems appropriate. So a lot of options here for Smith and his Jund deck. Again, we just saw Taya Steele playing Jund. She was also 6-0, so maybe Jund was a good choice for this tournament.
Well, there's a lot of you have a lot of ways to deal with True Name Nemesis, which I think is part of the appeal of this deck. You have cards like Liliana Veil, obviously, but you also have Golgari Charm. You could also play Toxic Deluge if you want. And and obviously, it's never going to be that bad against combo because you're going to have Thoughtseize, Hymn to Torek. So it's just one of those fair decks that has a way to deal with True Name Nemesis.
Sure.
But in general, though, I'm still in the camp that it's difficult to beat True Name Nemesis unless you play your own True Name Nemesis.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Trust me.
It seems like you can, but in theory, I think it works in theory, but it's difficult in practice.
Yeah, I'm a little bit surprised too to see Shaheen playing, Lingering Souls as opposed to True Name Nemesis. And he's got the Intuition package and all that good stuff, and he's going to take a mulligan here down to at least 6 cards. But I'm a little bit surprised to see Lingering Souls showing up to the party here today.
Well, I think part of it is his plan is basically Lingering Souls is a lot more effective against these types of decks. Because obviously you have Golgari Charm to deal with True Name Nemesis. Golgari Charm not nearly as effective against Lingering Souls.
Yeah.
So I think Shaheen's plan actually kind of works out against decks like this, decks like Bug. I think I'd rather have Lingering Souls at this point against decks like that, just because obviously they have a lot of answers. But I'm with you. I think True Name Nemesis is just so good that I wouldn't want to play it. Wouldn't want to not play it. I think I like having maybe 1, maybe 2 copies of Lingering Souls, but I wouldn't play 0 True Name Nemesis. I think it's just too. It's one of those oops I win cards like we were talking about.
And you want to have the ability to just get a free win.
Yeah.
Definitely in a tournament that's as difficult as this one. You just, I drew True Nemesis, you lose now.
Especially if you can go turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Stoneforge for Jite, turn 3 Nemesis. There are certain decks that just lose to that.
Yeah.
Jund being one of them.
Yeah, that is one that definitely counts. You see a Ponder here. Shaheen kept a 1 lander, I believe. He's going to keep the card on top and pass the turn. Smith is going to draw. He'll play a Verdant Catacombs and pass. Soorani does have a 2nd land. It's a Caracas, and now there's a Stoneforge Mystic. So he's getting started in a nice way here. He gets to search. We'll see if it's going to be a Jite or a Batterskull, and move forward accordingly.
Yep, and it is Batterskull, so now Erik's going to have to really find an answer to that Stoneforge right away. He does have 2 copies of Ancient Grudge in his sideboard, which I'd imagine he brought in.
Yeah, you see the one right at the very bottom of his deck. He's going to search out a Badlands. It feels like maybe a Lightning Bolt's going to show up here in a minute. Maybe.
So Shaheen looks like he has 1 copy of Indelicate, 3 copies of Snapcaster Mage, 4 Stoneforge Mystic. Those Pyroblasts are going to be pretty effective at stopping Jace, but beyond that, it's like not that great against Shaheen. Let's see. It looks like Erik has a Wasteland. He's going to go after the land here. Does he have a Lightning Bolt?
He does not. Does Shaheen have
Shaheen
another
does.
land?
It looks like he did draw a land there. So.
Well, what a master.
Wow. So we're going to sack. And yes, it looks like Shaheen's going to be able to activate the Stoneforge Mystic and get that Batterskull in play. Erik did not have a removal spell for it. Let's see if he has a removal spell for the Batterskull. Does he have an Ancient Grudge in his hand? Not sure.
So you see a Pyroblast, a couple copies of that. Got a Bloodbraid Elf, but he's a long ways away from there. And does have a Dark Confidant too.
And, that's the problem with a card like Pyroblast against Esper Blade is that sometimes it just sits in your hand and does nothing. Obviously, Jace the Mind Sculptor is one of those important cards that you have to deal with. But Stoneblade can just beat you without even ever playing a blue spell.
Yeah.
As we're just going to see, good old Stoneforge Batterskull. And again, Erik had to tap out here, so now, Shaheen can cast some blue spells and get him to resolve.
And that's exactly what he's going to start off with a Brainstorm. You see he finds a Polluted Delta, Lingering Souls, and a Stoneforge Mystic. So he's going to put 2 back. He's going to make it a perfect Brainstorm with the fetch land. We could even see him simply go Swords to Plowshare, your Bob, keep attacking, and show exactly why this is one of the most powerful decks in the format. Because even though he had to keep would look to be a tough, questionable one-lander.
Yep.
He's worked his way out of it really well because Ponder and Brainstorm, they do that.
Yeah. And he's going to deal with the Dark Confidant right away. Doesn't really care about committing a second Stoneforge Mystic. He just wants to make sure that Erik doesn't draw outs to the Batterskull.
So there's a Wooded Foothills.
So Wooded Foothills come down. Again, no Ancient Grudge here. So Batterskull threatened to win this game for Shaheen. Shaheen's going to sack here. Let's see what he gets. Looks like he get another island, so he's protecting himself from Wasteland.
Which I like. Especially if he has no black cards in his hand.
Doesn't need black. Doesn't have access to double white, which, again, would only really matter if he had to cast Supreme Verdict, which I don't think he cares about right now.
Takes a draw step here, cracked it in his
Another
upkeep.
good card.
There's a Brainstorm.
And we're going to see a Pyroblast stop
That's worth countering, especially because he's got 2 of those in his hand.
So swings over for 5 again. We're going to see another Stoneforge. Yep, and it looks like we're going to get a Jete here. I'm not sure. Yeah, it doesn't look like Shaheen has another piece of equipment, like a sort of Fire and Ice or something. So we'll probably see a Jete come.
It's funny. People's opinion on Stoneforge Mystic has come and gone. Everyone says it's great. Some people are like, it's terrible. You can't get Batterskull and play in time because combo decks just kill you. Well, when you're playing fair matchups, this card is unbelievably powerful.
Yeah, it's basically Demonic Tutor.
Yeah.
With legs.
It's absolutely crazy.
And we talked about this earlier. It just makes True Name Nemesis, I feel like, made this card so much better because the fact that you can get a Jete now, you don't need to get those cards stuck in your hand anymore.
Well, there's Bloodbraid. Here's trying to save Ancient Grudge is good. All right.
All right.
And he's got the flashback for the Jete too, so he is back in the game.
Great flip there. Great cascade there for Erik. And Kenny, doesn't draw a 4th land, so he can't cast Jete and equip it and deal with the Bloodbraid.
All right.
It looks like we're just going to see a Lingering Souls here. And it might be enough. Lingering Souls, flashback Lingering Souls. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a black mana.
Oh, well,
we were talking about that.
You thought it might be enough until Erik Smith threw a card for the turn.
Oh, goodness. Not a Jete. So not only does he have a Jete and he can equip it this turn, he could also has a land. So if he needs to search out a Badlands or a Taiga to flashback the Ancient Grudge to deal with the Jete, he could also Pyroblast the Jace if Shaheen tries to play that next turn somehow. So Erik Smith here, great few draws.
Oh, he's coming back. He's climbing that mountain. He's going to equip the Bloodbraid Elf. He's going to get in here. I assume Shaheen is going to double block here. Yeah, so he'll trade with the Bloodbraid Elf with the 2 tokens. Two counters will go on the Jete, excuse me. And we'll see exactly how he wants to progress moving forward. Does he want to kill Stoneforge Mystic now? Does he want to just leave the 2 counters on there? He does have a copy of Golgari Charm in his hand. So yeah, those Spirit tokens, those got to go, baby.
Yeah, I wonder if
was the attack maybe
a little
okay, he's got a follow-up. Okay, I was going to say, was the attack maybe a little bit premature?
Because if I didn't have another creature, especially if I have a Golgari Charm in my hand, maybe I just equip and pass. But he just want to get those tokens. Plus, he has another creature out there. So Erik in pretty good shape here. He does expose himself a little bit to a top deck Jace, but again, Shaheen he doesn't know that Shaheen doesn't have a Jace or a land. So looks like we're just going to see an Engineer exposure for 1.
I like this play here by Shaheen. He's going to just try to press advantage and make it so that Smith can't come back. He needs Smith to kind of brick off a bunch here, but I mean that can happen. Liliana the Veil off the top is an interesting draw.
So now he can kill a Stoneforge with the Jete and then make him sack another one if he wants.
He's just going to pass the turn back with the Jete available. Shaheen draws a black spell, not black land, so he's going to attack the Liliana with a Stoneforge Mystic. Will Smith use that Jete?
Yeah, it looks like Jete will.
Answer is
he's
yes.
going to protect that Liliana, obviously. And now Lingering Souls will come down, but he has the Golgari Charm for it. So now he could, looks like he has, yep, we're going to uptick it, discard a land. And are we going to pass the turn?
Do you want to cast the charm now to try to play around potential counter magic? Do you not care if it gets countered?
Yeah, he's certainly casting Golgari Charm. So I think you might want to just cast it because Esper Stoneblade some decks do play counterspell. A lot of them do play 1 counterspell. So you don't want to lose your Liliana right here. I think you just cast it when Shaheen's tapped out, but it does resolve for him, so Liliana will stay in play, and it doesn't look like Shaheen really just has anything else. Erik's going to be in top deck mode, but he's got a Liliana and a Jete in play, and Shaheen just doesn't have any action going, and he doesn't have a black mana to flash back those Lingering Souls.
He chose to get basics. That was his option.
Yep, he chose to play around Wasteland, and it looks like he's gonna pay for it now. He could cast Intuition for 3 Black Sources, but
Boy, that would be rough.
he won't be able to flash back the Lingering Souls this turn.
I actually think that's what he's sitting here considering right now is if I do that, what are the ramifications of that decision? And it looks like he is going. Oh man, he looks like he wants to pull the trigger on that so bad.
He could just get 3 sack lands. The question is, does he do it main or does he want to wait? I think you just cast it so you get the land into play right now. Oh, it looks like he's. Oh, so it did get pyroblasted, so
Okay.
it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter. Okay.
So perfect turn for Erik. We're gonna have a brainstorm here.
So Erik just ticked up. Erik just ticked up the Liliana. Shaheen discarded Thoughtseize. Erik played a land, so he didn't even discard. So Erik is in top deck mode, except he's got the Planeswalker in play. But Brainstorm can certainly undo some things because you see a Disenchant there in Soorani's hand. He also has a fetch land. He's got a Ponder. He's trying to figure out exactly, okay, how am I going to put everything back? How do I move forward? How the heck do I beat this Planeswalker?
Well, thankfully he drew a sack land, so he can get a swamp or a black source and flash back those lingering souls and start pressuring that Liliana. So pretty good draw for Shaheen. But it looks like he's going to pass.
I like this yeah, because Liliana's obviously going to tick up, and he needs to get that GT off the table. Now here's a Tarmogoyf.
Oh, wow. Actually, that's not a bad.
Yeah, he's doing okay because he's got the
Disenchant and
the grip. Yep, and now there goes the GT. So now all he has to beat is I say all, but all he has to beat is a Tarmogoyf and a Liliana.
Another land, another sack land would be great. He can flash back both lingering souls.
You see Shaheen rub his hands together, saying, "All right, I'm getting back into this thing.
Yeah,
I can beat that Liliana."
Erik's only at 5. And Shaheen's at 21, so Shaheen's not in bad shape despite some really, really good top decks by Erik. If Shaheen can just, looks like he's going to flash back a Lingering Souls.
He's going to start with
Ponder. Another great
draw. He kept that on top of his deck. Now there's a Jace, there's a GT, and there's
a
Souls.
And a GT, yep. So
and he's going to.
Looks like he's going to draw the Lingering Souls and cast it.
Yep.
Or no, he's going to flash it back.
Okay, and I actually kind of like this too because
plays around Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize duress, him to Torok.
Tarmogoyf coming in. Sheen says, "Okay, I'll go to 16."
And if he has to discard a card to Liliana, it's
might as well be Lingering Souls.
Perfect. But he's going to make him sack instead.
Okay. And he's going to immediately put that GT into play. Oh no, he's not.
He's got Jace the Mind Sculptor is going to bounce Tarmogoyf here.
Yep.
And Erik Smith is in all of a sudden.
Boy, this game has shifted back and forth and back and forth. But now Smith draws a Wasteland, so he can cut off Shaheen's Black Source. So that's gone, and that's actually a big draw. But now he needs to take care of that Jace.
And he has another Liliana.
Okay.
So that's good. He can play the Liliana and force Shaheen to lose his token. He'll lose the Liliana in play, but
okay, and that's actually what he's going to do. Liliana's going to go down, lose the token, play the Tarmogoyf, pass a turn back.
That's why he couldn't uptick the Liliana that was in play because he didn't want to discard the Tarmogoyf.
Well, time for Jace to take over. Brainstorm. Who's got the better Planeswalker? We're going to find out here in a minute. As Soorani is going to resolve a Brainstorm from Jace the Mind Sculptor. He's got a Lingering Souls. He's got a Tundra. He's got a Brainstorm, a discard spell, no Black Source, GT as well. And you see that he's setting it up so he can just play GT off the top, into play, equip, and attack you. So there is your Tundra, we think. Maybe not. A Brainstorm now. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Vindicate among the cards, but again, no Black Source.
He wants to get that Inquisition in his hand so he can discard it to Liliana. So he can play a land, pass Lingering Souls,
discard Inquisition, draw GT, equip, attack you.
Yep.
Good play. Good play.
So let's see what Erik drew. Oh, just a land. Now he's going to uptick. Shaheen just discards the Inquisition. Doesn't matter.
Tarmogoyf coming into Jace. Easy block there for Soorani. And immediately there is, I believe he keeps the GT. He's going to Brainstorm first. Okay. He has a Vindicate. I think maybe he wants to Vindicate that Tarmogoyf potentially.
I think he wants to Vindicate Tarmogoyf. Or does he? Oh, he has a Snapcaster too.
He's got all the options now. I'm surprised he hasn't GT'd yet.
I don't think he has to GT necessarily. Let's see. It looks like we're going to have a, attack Liliana down to 1. And pass the turn. I think he wants to,
draw step, sword
plow
step. Okay.
So, he's going to lose his GT here, but I think he's okay with that. He doesn't need, let's see here.
Things can turn in a minute. There's a Dark Confidant. That's not bad.
That's not bad. He's going to lose his GT here, but he still has, so he might lose the Snapcaster too, unless Erik decides not to attack with Bloodbraid.
I think he's got to attack.
I think Bloodbraid has to go after the Jace here.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
Yep, so there's an easy trade. Pass the turn back. Shaheen quickly draws. Brainstorm.
Can't cast. Okay, so he does have a Black Source for the Vindicate now.
So now Jace can safely go back. He's got a Black Source. He's pretty sure of himself with the Brainstorm. Sacrifice the Marsh Flats, vindicate that.
And Liliana's going to go down to 1 token again. So eventually, it took a little while, but Shaheen looks to be in pretty good shape now.
Jason play, another Blood Braid can change everything.
A Blood Braid can change everything, yeah, but let's see. Is Erik going to be able to be another good draw?
Abrupt Decay, take care of that. That's not bad, but
Uptick.
Here's the problem. One of these Planeswalkers is better than the other.
Yeah, and again, Shaheen can still flash back the Lingering Souls in his graveyard, so and he did draw a counterspell too, so to prevent any top decking from Erik.
So he's going to play that Marsh Flats there. He's got swords in his hand. He's playing pretty quick here because you guys can see the clock in the middle. We're under 30 seconds.
Yeah, but I think Shaheen's in good shape. I think he should be able to win in 4 turns here. Looks like he's going to flash back twice, and he still has mana up for counterspell. So 4 tokens in play. Erik's at 9. Tarmogoyf comes down.
Well, the card in Shaheen's hand, he actually put the counterspell back. He has swords in his hand. That's
so
his last card.
In his hand.
So now Tarmogoyf from Smith and uptick Liliana. So discard the swords. Actually kill your Tarmogoyf in response. So Tarmogoyf is big, but Shaheen's got some work to do, and he doesn't have a ton of time to do it. And so Liliana's going to bite the dust.
So is he going to Fate Seal or Brainstorm? So it looks like he's going to Brainstorm instead.
Let me tell you something about Shaheen. Never Fate Seals. Ever. Actual ever.
Casting Brainstorm is fun.
I was doing a match with Martel in Indianapolis where we were watching Shaheen play against Ross Merriman. We're like, I think it's safe to Fate Seal now since Ross has nothing. And, you know, it's like this top decks are very limited. Shaheen's just like Brainstorm. Brainstorm again. What do you think it's going to do with this, Jace? I would bet it all that he Brainstorms, even though he just got done brainstorming.
It looks like we're going to have another Brainstorm.
Yeah, he doesn't Fate Seal with Jace. And we've actually talked about this because he rewatched the match. He's like, no, I don't ever Fate Seal, man. I don't ever Fate Seal.
So here
give me 3 more. He's always Brainstorming, baby.
So he has 2 plows, a surgical extraction. Let's see if he goes. So they're in turn 0 right now. Is Erik Smith at 16?
He is at 16 because that's swords.
Oh.
So Shaheen needs to find a way, and that's why that might be part of the reason that he is brainstorming so much is because he needs to find a way to get this bad boy over with.
Do they have any? Oh, and I'm not sure if they have any extra time because they're in the feature match area. So
they
are
on turn 0.
So Shaheen, I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think Shaheen's.
Okay.
Shaheen's going to need like a Batterskull here, I think. Yeah, if he goes Batterskull, attack goes to 12, equip, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, Shaheen's only going to get 2 attacks here. I'm not sure he has enough to finish it off.
Yeah, because he's turn 2.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I don't think Shaheen can do enough.
Oh no,
and there's a punishing fire too.
He doesn't have a Grove, but
Shaheen just doesn't have enough damage.
And he was playing quickly too.
Yeah.
And there's a surgical extraction that's going to take care of the Groves. Now, unless these players have a time distinction, but again, they don't have because we're being informed that, again, Shaheen is turn number 2 here. Time has been called. No extension, even though they didn't move over to the feature match. So we might see a draw here, man.
It looks like we're going to see the first draw.
And we had Smith at 5 life at one point too.
Yeah, all those swords. And I think maybe Shaheen just wasn't cognizant of because like he didn't really need to swords the Tarmogoyf, to be honest.
Jace could have just taken care of it a couple times with bouncing it. I mean, looking back now, hindsight.
He had tokens to block it if he wanted the Jace in play. Like he had 2 Jaces, and he had another Jace in his hand too, so it didn't really matter if the Jace died. Maybe Shaheen just wasn't aware of how low Erik really was.
Yeah.
And yeah, because it definitely didn't seem like Tarmogoyf needed to die, but.
Yeah, I mean, this game had went through so many stages, right, where Shaheen was like easily winning, even though he kept a 1-lander, and then Smith was coming back and easily winning, and then Soorani was coming back and saying, hey, I'm easily winning. So now, you know, it looks like we're going to end up moving to a draw. So we'll see what ends up happening, but it looks like both players are going to end up at